Close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath. Let your body rest as the day of the present world drifts further away. Tonight, we will travel far back in time to the northern shores of Scandinavia more than 1,000 years ago. We are going to spend a single day in the life of a Viking, but do not expect battle or loud sagas or storming raids. What awaits us is the quiet rhythm of daily life, the soft hum of people close to the earth, the sea, and the sky. And perhaps a quiet smile at the thought that here, there is no Instagram, no phones, no rushing, only rowboats, wooden houses, and the steady pulse of the natural world. The morning begins gently. The air is cool, carrying a hint of salt from the sea. The horizon softens into silver, then into pale rose as the sun stretches awake. In a longhouse built from timber and turf, a family stirs. The roof is steep and low, thatched with reeds and turf to hold back the northern winds. Wooden beams, darkened by smoke, arch overhead. At the center, a hearth lies glowing with embers, the last heat of the night's fire. A woman rises first, quietly. She moves from her bedding of wool blankets and animal furs, careful not to wake the children curled beside her, their breath steady and warm in the dim light. She pulls a cloak around her shoulders and kneels beside the hearth. With practiced hands, she feeds twigs to the fire, coaxing it awake until flames begin to lick upward again. The crackle of fire is the first sound of the day. Soon a pot is set above it, barley and oats stirred with goat's milk until the porridge begins to bubble softly, promising warmth for everyone when they wake. Outside, the village is slowly stirring too. A rooster calls into the dawn, sheep rustle in their pens, a dog stretches, shakes its fur, and waits at the longhouse door, tail wagging gently for someone to let it inside. The day begins not with noise or alarm, but with the natural rhythm of life. Wooden doors creak open. Smoke begins to curl from chimney holes. The world fills with small, steady sounds. You rise as well, for this is your day among them. A day to live quietly as a Viking. No screens, no glowing lights, only the cool ground beneath your feet and the salty breeze from the shore. You dress in a wool tunic, dyed in colors made from plants and roots. A leather belt ties at your waist, a small knife hanging there for daily use, not war. Leather shoes fit your feet, worn but sturdy. A heavy cloak drapes across your shoulders. You step outside into the soft morning air. The village is simple, small, and peaceful. A cluster of longhouses with sloping roofs, built low to the earth. A few sheds for storing grain and tools. Pens for goats and sheep. Beyond all of it, always, the wide sea glimmers quietly waiting. The scent of wood smoke mixes with the smell of salt and damp earth. Children dart between houses, laughing softly as they play. A man kneels to mend a fishing net. Another sharpens an axe against stone. Along the shoreline, a rowboat rests with its oars laid neatly inside, waiting for the day's work to begin. There are no carriages, no rushing traffic, no roads paved with stone. Only paths of grass and packed dirt, weaving from house to house, leading down to the shore. Breakfast is a quiet affair. You gather with the family around the hearth, bowls passed one by one, filled with warm porridge. Dried berries from the summer past are sprinkled into the bowls. Fresh bread is torn into pieces, dense and chewy, baked on flat stones by the fire. Butter, thick and golden, is shared in generous dollops. The sounds are soft, wooden spoons against bowls, the crackle of the fire, the occasional laughter of a child. Someone hums a low tune, the kind of melody that has lived so long it needs no words. After breakfast, the long day begins to open itself. Women tend to weave, pulling wool into thread, turning spindles with steady patience. They dye the wool in colors drawn from roots, bark and flowers, soft reds and browns and yellows that will become tunics and cloaks. A loom leans against the wall, threads stretched tight across its frame, waiting to be turned into cloth. Men head toward their tasks, fishing, mending boats, tending animals. Children carry small chores too, gathering herbs, feeding goats, fetching water. For you today there is rowing. You walk to the shore where the small rowboat waits. Its body is made of oak, long and narrow, its planks overlapped neatly, fastened with iron nails. The oars are polished from use, smooth beneath your hands. You climb in, settle yourself and begin. There is no sound of engines, no hum of motors, only the steady rhythm of your arms, pulling and releasing as the boat glides forward. The sea is calm, its surface glassy, painted in shades of grey-blue. Every stroke of the oar dips into water, lifts with droplets, then dips again. The sound is almost like breathing, slow and even, pulling you into its rhythm. The coast stretches around you as you row. Low cliffs rise in the distance, topped with dark pines. Seabirds perch on rocks, watching you as you pass. The air is cool and clean, filled with the cries of gulls and the occasional splash of fish beneath the water. Time feels unhurried here, as if it stretches out wide, giving space for everything to unfold slowly. The boat drifts, the oars move, and you feel a quiet calm settle inside you, like the sea itself has shared its stillness. Back on land, the village continues with its steady tasks. Nets are mended, animals led to pasture, children practice throwing small wooden spears at a post, cheered on by their friends. Chores are never-ending, yet no one rushes. Each task belongs to the rhythm of the day. Water is fetched, firewood chopped, bread prepared. It is life carried not by haste, but by patience, one thing at a time, 1 hour at a time. You return to the longhouse, where the loom creaks softly as cloth is woven. A song is sung, not of heroes or war, but of rivers, fields, and seasons turning. The melody is low, almost like a lullaby, weaving itself into the air like another thread on the loom. The fire glows bright again, warming the longhouse as people work. The world outside is wide and often harsh, but within these walls there is a quiet sense of steadiness, of home, of care. The morning has passed in peace, slow and full of simple sounds. Fire, laughter, the steady creak of oars, the soft sweep of wool becoming cloth. This is the beginning of the day, and already it has shown its quiet rhythm, its steady patience, its unhurried breath. The afternoon will come soon, bringing its own work, its own meals, its own gentle stories. But for now, you let the calm of the morning linger. You hold onto the scent of wood smoke, the sound of seabirds, the warmth of porridge, and the slow rhythm of the sea. Breathe deeply and feel yourself relax. In this Viking morning, you are far from noise, far from hurry, far from worry. Only the soft passing of time surrounds you. If you close your eyes, you may already feel yourself drifting, steady as a boat on calm waters, toward the quiet place where sleep begins. The sun has risen higher now, and the village is wrapped in the soft light of midday. The air is warmer, though the breeze from the sea still carries a cool edge. The morning tasks have slowed, and the village settles into the quiet rhythm of the afternoon. Time feels as though it stretches, unhurried, each moment resting gently on the next. You walk through the settlement, noticing the details of daily life. Chickens scratch in the dirt, pecking at seeds, clucking softly. A group of children wander together, their bare feet padding across the earth, their hands full of small treasures, smooth stones, feathers, a seashell that glints in the light. They pause to examine their finds, crouching close, pointing, whispering in voices so soft that even the wind carries them away. Their laughter is light, not loud, the kind that melts into the air rather than breaks it. At the edge of the village, a man works on his boat. The vessel rests on the shore, propped by logs, its curved hull waiting for the sea. He runs his hand across the wood, searching for roughness, for weakness, for any place where the salt and waves might one day creep in. With an axe, he trims the edge of a plank, slow, deliberate, each strike landing with quiet certainty. This is not hurried work. A boat is not only a tool but a lifeline, and each piece of wood is fitted carefully, lovingly. The smell of pine tar drifts into the air as he seals the joints, rich and sharp, blending with the salt of the sea. Nearby, women sit together, weaving and sewing. They work with wool, threads spun in long, patient hours, now being turned into clothing, into blankets, into the cloth that keeps the household warm through the cold of northern winters. Their hands move with grace, a rhythm as natural as breathing. One woman hums as she works, the tune winding through the air like smoke, a song about summer, about fields of grass and the return of the sun after long dark months. The others listen as they weave, and one begins to join her, their voices soft, the melody rising gently and falling away, almost like the tide itself. Lunch is simple, but it carries the comfort of nourishment. Bread is brought out again, still warm from the hearth. There is cheese, pale and sharp, made from goat's milk. A pot of stew simmers gently, thick with fish and root vegetables, flavored with wild herbs gathered from the surrounding woods. Everyone eats without rush, seated together on benches, bowls balanced in their hands. A child tips his spoon too far, and stew drips to the floor. Instead of scolding, his mother smiles, wiping his chin gently before continuing her own meal. There is kindness here, threaded into the small moments, just as steady as the loom's threads, just as constant as the rowing of oars. After eating, some of the village rests. The children grow drowsy and curl on soft furs in the longhouse, drifting into afternoon naps. The fire burns low, its crackle softened, its glow warming the room. A few adults take the chance to rest as well, leaning against the wooden walls, eyes closing, minds slipping into brief stillness before the evening work begins. Outside, the village quiets. The only sounds are the calls of gulls and the steady hush of waves against the shore. You walk slowly toward the fields beyond the village. They are small yet precious. Barley and rye grow here, green blades swaying in the breeze. The soil is worked by hand, tended with care, for the harvest is what sustains the people when the sea cannot. A man bends to check the earth, feeling its dampness, judging whether the plants will grow strong. Beside him, a woman pulls weeds from the soil, each one tossed aside in silence, her movements calm and steady. They pause often, standing straight, gazing across the land with quiet pride. For them, these fields are not just work, they are life, and they tend them with patience that stretches across generations. Farther along, a beekeeper tends to his hives. The wooden boxes are simple, but they hum with life. Bees drift lazily through the air, their wings glinting in the sunlight. He works carefully, moving slowly so as not to disturb them. Honey is precious, rare, a sweetness that turns ordinary porridge into a delight, a gift often saved for special occasions. He lifts a small frame, the honeycomb shining golden, the smell warm and rich. He smiles faintly, pleased, before placing it back, hands steady, movements gentle. The afternoon drifts forward, and you find yourself once again near the water. The tide has shifted, pulling the sea back from the shore. Wet sand glistens, dotted with small shells and tiny crabs scuttling sideways. The rowboats rest quietly on the damp earth, their hulls reflecting the sun. Children run barefoot across the sand, chasing one another, leaving footprints that vanish as the waves reach for them. Their laughter carries lightly, blending with the endless rhythm of water. A group of men prepare to fish. Nets are gathered, inspected one final time, weighted with stones and bone. They load them into the boat, oars creaking softly as they push away from the shore. The sea welcomes them, the boat rising and falling with the tide. You watch as they row, their arms moving in perfect unison, their bodies leaning forward and back, until they become part of the water's rhythm. It is work, yes, but it is also song. The oars strike the sea like notes, and the boat glides as though carried by music. In the village, the women continue their weaving, their sewing, their tending to animals. Smoke drifts upward from the hearths, the smell of wood and herbs wrapping the air in comfort. A dog sleeps by the doorway, chest rising and falling slowly, lost in dreams of fields and hunts. The afternoon stretches onward, time flowing like the tide, neither rushing nor lingering, simply moving, quietly and endlessly. As you sit by the shore, you feel the peace of the Viking afternoon settle around you. It is not a world without labor, it is not a life without care. But here, every task carries patience, every moment carries presence. The people move with the day, not against it, and the day moves with them. No distractions, no noise, only the simple weaving of work, rest, and quiet joy. The sun hangs lower, though it is not yet evening. Shadows lengthen gently across the earth. You breathe in the salt air, the scent of pine from the forest, the warmth of the afternoon fire drifting from the longhouses. The sounds are soft, easy to carry, the whisper of grass in the breeze, the murmur of voices, the lull of water at the shore. Time itself seems to slow, as if inviting you to close your eyes, to rest, to let yourself be carried by the steady rhythm of this place. The afternoon in the Viking village is not dramatic. It is not marked by grand events or sudden stories. Instead, it is carried by small moments, quiet labors, soft voices, and the steady pulse of life lived close to the land and sea. And in that simplicity, there is a calm that seeps deep within you, a reminder that peace can be found in the smallest of things. The sway of barley in the fields, the hum of bees, the creak of oars, the crackle of the hearth. As the day drifts toward evening, you carry this calm with you, like a cloak wrapped gently around your shoulders. The afternoon is ending, but its quiet stillness lingers, like the aftertaste of honey, like the warmth of the sun on your skin, like the whisper of waves folding over the shore. The afternoon has stretched long and wide, and now the sun begins its slow descent toward the horizon. The light softens, turning from bright silver to shades of gold, then to a gentle amber that washes the village in warmth. Shadows grow longer across the packed earth paths, and the sea glimmers like polished metal, calm and steady, reflecting the last strength of the day. The village prepares for evening in its own unhurried way. Nets are gathered in, boats pulled higher on the shore so the tide will not claim them in the night. Tools are put away carefully, axes hung from beams, ropes coiled neatly, baskets stacked by the walls of the sheds. Children call out to one another, finishing their games as their mothers beckon them inside. A few goats bleat softly, herded back into their pens, their hooves clattering gently against the wooden fencing. Chickens flap their wings and settle in for the night, feathers ruffling as they tuck their heads beneath them. From within the longhouses, smoke rises again. Fires are fed with new wood, their flames glowing bright and crackling cheerfully, a heartbeat in the center of each home. The scent of cooking drifts into the air, rich and inviting. Tonight there will be stew, thick with fish and root vegetables, seasoned with dill and onion. There will be bread, baked fresh once more, its crust crisp, its inside soft and steaming. There will be butter, passed in small wooden dishes, and perhaps a taste of dried berries preserved from summer. You step inside the longhouse, and the warmth greets you immediately. The fire glows at the center, flames casting dancing light across the beams above. The air is alive with gentle sounds, the bubbling of the stew, the hum of voices, the occasional burst of laughter from the children as they tumble in and find their places. The longhouse is both shelter and heart. Its walls hold back the cold winds, but they also hold within them the closeness of family, of neighbors, of life shared together. Seating is simple. Benches along the sides, furs spread for comfort, wooden stools pulled close. Everyone gathers around the central fire. Bowls are filled one by one, the food ladled generously from the pot. A child waits eagerly, stretching their hands out before being reminded gently to be patient. An elder is served first, the gesture a sign of respect that is felt quietly by all. Once everyone has a bowl, the eating begins, not in silence, but not in noise either. It is steady, calm, with murmured words, the clink of wooden spoons, the crackle of flames. The food is simple, yet it carries with it the comfort of tradition. The stew warms the body after the cool air of the afternoon. The bread is dense and filling. The butter softens on its surface, melting slowly with the heat. People eat steadily, without rush. Stories are shared between bites, some about the day just past, others about the turning of the seasons, the harvest, the sea. These are not sagas of warriors or kings, but the soft stories of daily life, of neighbors helping neighbors, of a calf born healthy, of a net that caught more fish than expected. They are stories meant not to dazzle, but to remind everyone of the threads that tie them together. When the bowls are emptied, the embers of the fire are stirred to a brighter glow, and the evening drifts gently into storytelling. A grandfather leans forward, his hands resting on his knees, his eyes catching the firelight. His voice is low, steady, carrying the rhythm of age. He tells of winters long past, when the snow lay heavy and the nights stretched endlessly, and of the way the village endured together, waiting for the sun to return. His words are not urgent, not dramatic, but woven like cloth, soft and slow, carrying images of longhouses buried in white, of torches glowing warmly in the night, of laughter even in the dark months. The children lean close, their eyes heavy with drowsiness, but still they listen, their imaginations painting the scenes he describes. They do not fidget, they do not hurry. In this world without glowing screens or endless distractions, the voice of an elder is enough to hold their attention, to soothe them into calmness, to carry them towards sleep. Others add their own tales. A woman remembers a summer storm that shook the sea but left the boats unharmed. A young man recalls finding a seal sleeping on the rocks, its soft eyes blinking curiously before it slipped into the waves. The stories drift like smoke, each one curling gently into the air, blending with the warmth of the fire, lingering for a moment before fading into memory. As the night deepens, the tasks of the day come to an end. Shoes are placed neatly by the walls, cloaks folded, tools gathered and laid aside. The fire is fed once more, so its warmth will last through the long hours of darkness. Beds are prepared, simple wooden frames or mats of straw, covered with thick furs and wool blankets. Children curl close to one another, their breathing already slowing as sleep claims them. Adults settle themselves too, shoulders sinking into softness, eyes closing as the weight of the day slips away. The longhouse quiets. Only the fire remains awake, glowing steadily, its flames lowered to a gentle flicker. Outside, the world darkens completely. The stars emerge, countless and cold, spread across the vast northern sky. The sea whispers against the shore, its rhythm endless, steady as a heartbeat. Dogs stir and settle again. Sheep huddle close together in their pens. The village rests, wrapped in the embrace of night. Inside, you lie back on your bed of furs, the warmth of the blankets gathering around you. The air is soft with smoke and the faint sweetness of pine. You hear the breath of those around you, slow, steady, filling the longhouse with quiet life. The stories still linger in your mind, not sharp or demanding, but gentle, fading slowly like echoes. You let your eyes close, you let your body grow heavy. And you feel yourself drifting, carried by the warmth of the hearth, by the rhythm of the sea, by the peace of a Viking evening. The day is not yet over, but already it has given you what you needed, a sense of stillness, of belonging, of calm. And as the longhouse settles fully into night, you too surrender to rest, letting the softness of the world guide you gently towards sleep. The longhouse has grown silent. The fire has been banked low, just a bed of glowing embers now, their soft light breathing faintly against the beams overhead. Around you, the sound of sleep fills the space. Gentle breaths rise and fall, a child sighs softly, someone stirs and turns beneath their blanket. But mostly, there is stillness. The kind of stillness that feels like the earth itself has exhaled and settled into slumber. Outside, the northern night spreads wide and endless. The sun has vanished beyond the horizon, and the sky above the village is awash with stars. They spill across the heavens in their thousands, cold and bright, shimmering like frost scattered upon dark velvet. There are no lamps, no glowing towers, no distant cities to dim them. Only starlight, unbroken, pure and eternal. If you lift your eyes to them, you feel small, yet also deeply connected, as though those lights have always been there, watching over every generation that came before and will remain for every generation that follows. The moon has risen too, pale and round, casting its silver glow across the sea. The water shimmers softly, each small wave catching the light and carrying it to shore. The boats, pulled high onto the sand, gleam faintly, their wooden curves bathed in silver. The tide is gentle tonight, its waves lapping with the sound of a slow heartbeat, steady and sure. The sea seems to breathe along with the village, each rise and fall of water echoing the rise and fall of every chest within the longhouses. Beyond the shore, the forest whispers. Pines stand tall and unmoving, their trunks black against the sky, but their needles murmur softly in the night wind. An owl calls low and steady from a branch unseen. Somewhere in the underbrush, a fox moves silently, its paws pressing gently into the earth. The animals of the night stir, yet even they move with quiet purpose, without urgency, part of the same slow rhythm that cradles the village in calm. A watchman walks along the edge of the houses, his steps careful and measured. In a world without walls of stone or locks of iron, the people rely on one another. He carries no heavy armor, only a cloak wrapped around his shoulders, an axe at his side. His eyes scan the darkness, but there is little to see tonight beyond the endless sky and the whispering trees. He pauses often, listening, breathing, standing still beneath the stars. His duty is not only to guard, but also to witness the night, to hold the silence so that others may rest. Inside the longhouse, you shift slightly beneath your furs, still half awake, drifting on the edge of dreams. The warmth of the blankets presses gently against your skin, the faint smell of smoke lingers in the air, and the quiet hum of sleep surrounds you. You hear the fire crackle faintly as one ember breaks, glowing bright before fading again. You hear the distant sigh of wind against the thatch of the roof. Each sound is soft, each sound reminding you that you are safe, sheltered, part of the whole rhythm of the night. Dreams begin to take hold. They are not sharp or urgent, but soft and drifting, like mist over water. A child dreams of running barefoot through tall grass in summer, the sun shining warm upon their face. A fisherman dreams of calm seas, his boat steady, nets heavy with shimmering fish. An elder dreams of faces long gone, voices of ancestors that rise gently from memory like smoke curling upward. These dreams weave themselves together, filling the longhouse like another kind of fire, one of imagination, of spirit, of memory and hope. The night grows deeper. The stars wheel slowly overhead, their patterns shifting with the turning of the earth. Constellations the people know so well shine clearly, guides for the sea, stories for the hearth. One is a hunter, another a ship, another a great animal stretched across the sky. The children learn them in whispers, tracing their shapes with fingers pointed upward. But now the children sleep, and the stars shine silently, their stories resting until tomorrow. The dogs outside stir and settle again. A sheep lets out a low bleat, then falls quiet. The sea keeps whispering, pulling back, pressing forward, pulling back again. Even time itself seems to slow in this Viking night, as though it too has chosen to rest. And you, lying in the warmth of the longhouse, feel the weight of the day soften and drift away. You are held by the silence, by the rhythm, by the deep stillness of this place. There is no rush, there is no noise, only the calm of night, the glow of embers, the breath of those around you, and the endless sky keeping watch. The Viking village at night is not a place of fear or danger, not tonight. It is a place of deep peace, where every sound is softened, every movement unhurried. The land itself seems to sleep, and you are part of it. Just another breath, another heartbeat, resting in the gentle cradle of the northern night. Sleep folds over the village like a heavy, soft blanket, and you too are wrapped within it. Your eyelids grow heavy, your breath slows, and you drift deeper, following the same rhythm as the waves, as the stars, as the steady warmth of the earth. Night holds you safely until morning comes again. The night has passed quietly. The stars, once so bright, have faded, and the moon has drifted low, its pale light softened into shadow. Now, in the stillness before dawn, the world begins to stir again. The air is cool, carrying the faintest edge of salt and earth. For a moment, everything is hushed, as though the village holds its breath, waiting for the return of the sun. And then slowly, the sky begins to change. The black fades to deep blue, then to a soft gray. On the horizon, the first light of dawn rises, painting the edges of the clouds with delicate silver. Birds call out, one by one at first, then more, their voices weaving together in a quiet chorus. A rooster lifts its head, announcing the morning. Sheep stir in their pens, hooves shifting softly against the ground. The sea brightens, turning from black to steel, then to gentle blue, its surface rippling with the first winds of the day. Inside the longhouse, warmth lingers. The fire has burned low, but its embers still glow, casting faint red light across the beams. Slowly, people stir from their sleep. A child shifts beneath their blanket, sighing softly as they open their eyes. An elder sits upright, pulling a wool cloak around their shoulders to ward off the morning chill. The dog near the door stretches and shakes, its collar jingling faintly in the dim light. The woman of the house rises, as she did the day before, her movements calm and steady. She feeds the embers with dry twigs, coaxing the fire back to life. Flames spark upward, bringing light and warmth once more to the room. Soon the sound of the hearth returns, the crackle of burning wood, the hiss of sap releasing, the low roar as the fire grows. A pot is set above it, water poured, oats measured. The familiar smell of porridge begins to drift into the air, promising nourishment to start the day. One by one, the family rises. Cloaks are pulled on, shoes fastened. Children rub the sleep from their eyes, their hair tousled, their movements slow. No one rushes. There is no sharp alarm, no sudden urgency. Morning comes in its own time, and the village moves with it, not against it. Outside, the light grows brighter. Smoke curls from chimney holes as fires are stirred in other homes. Doors creak open. Voices greet the morning, soft and low. Neighbors wave to one another as they begin their tasks, carrying water, tending animals, preparing tools for the day's work. The village awakens not all at once, but in a quiet unfolding, like petals opening to the sun. Breakfast is shared again around the hearth. Wooden bowls are passed, filled with warm porridge, thickened with milk and sweetened, if fortune allows, with honey. There is bread once more, baked fresh the night before, its crust firm, its inside soft. Butter is spread with wooden knives, the smell rich and earthy. Each person eats in their own rhythm, spoons clinking gently against bowls. A child laughs when a drop of porridge spills on their cloak, and their laughter brings smiles from those around them. The sound is light, carrying easily through the longhouse, a reminder that joy is often found in the smallest of moments. After the meal, the day begins again. Chores are taken up, each one familiar, steady, and necessary. Nets are checked and repaired, goats led out to graze, wood split for the fire. Women sit by the loom, hands busy with threads, weaving cloth that will keep the family warm when winter returns. Men prepare for fishing, sharpening hooks, readying their boats. Children help where they can, carrying small baskets, fetching tools, gathering herbs from the paths near the forest. Each person has a role, and together they weave the day as surely as cloth upon the loom. You step outside into the fresh air, feeling the coolness of morning against your face. The sun is climbing higher now, its light spilling across the village, painting the roofs of the longhouses with gold. The forest stands dark and steady beyond, the sea gleams endlessly before you, and the air carries the mingled scents of earth, smoke, and salt. You breathe deeply, filling your lungs with the calm of this place, and you feel the steadiness of the new day settle within you. In the fields, green shoots glisten with dew. Farmers bend low, checking the soil, pulling weeds, murmuring to one another in quiet voices. Their movements are patient, careful, filled with respect for the land that feeds them. Beyond, the beekeeper tends once more to his hives, bees buzzing gently around him, their wings catching the light like threads of glass. The animals, too, embrace the morning, goats bleating softly, chickens scratching at the earth, dogs trotting along the paths with eager energy. The whole village moves together, each sound adding to the soft music of life. The rowboats wait at the shore again, their hulls resting on damp sand, oars stacked within. Soon they will glide once more across the sea, but for now they rest, silent and patient, as though they too are breathing in the morning light. The tide shifts gently, waves curling against the shore with their endless whisper. Seabirds wheel overhead, calling out, their wings beating against the air. The morning of a new day feels familiar, yet always fresh. It is another step in the endless circle of time, another rhythm in the unbroken song of life. There is no need for haste, no sense of rush. Only the slow unfolding of tasks, of moments, of breath after breath, each one carrying the village forward into the day. And as you move through this Viking dawn, you feel the peace of it settle deep inside. The steadiness of the fire, the warmth of porridge shared, the smell of smoke and bread, the rhythm of chores carried without hurry, the light of the sun rising once more over the wide northern sky. Each detail weaves itself together, forming a tapestry of calm, one that wraps around you like a cloak. The day is still young, and there is more ahead, work to be done, stories to be shared, meals to be cooked, fires to be tended. But for now you linger in the softness of morning, breathing it in, letting it carry you deeper into calm. You walk through the village, your steps slow, your heart steady, your mind quiet. And as you move with the rhythm of this place, you realize that time itself feels gentler here, each moment a gift, each moment a place to rest. The new day has begun, and you are part of it, held within its calm embrace, guided by its steady pace. The light grows brighter, the village awakens more fully, but inside you remains the quiet peace of dawn, a stillness you carry as you step into the hours ahead. The day unfolds quietly, much as it always does. The sun climbs higher into the sky, its light spilling across the sea, warming the fields, glinting against the blades of tools and the surfaces of water jars. People move through their tasks with steady rhythm, hands shaping, lifting, mending, building. The air hums with the sound of work, but not harshly. It is a soft hum, woven of footsteps on soil, of blades cutting through stalks, of voices calling gently to one another across the fields. Children play at the edges of the work, their laughter carried on the breeze. A stick becomes a sword, a stone becomes treasure, a patch of grass becomes a kingdom of its own. They chase and tumble, then pause to watch their elders, learning not only through words, but by simply being present in the flow of the day. The rhythm of life teaches them how to plant, how to mend, how to share, how to rest. The sea remains a constant companion. At times, rowboats glide smoothly across its surface, nets cast and drawn, the fishermen calling softly to one another. At other times, the boats rest on the sand, the men returning with their catch, the village greeting them with quiet smiles. Fish are salted, laid out to dry, stored for later days. Nothing is wasted. Every effort, every gift of the sea is folded back into the cycle of life. The sun begins its slow descent once more. Shadows stretch long across the ground. Tools are set aside, animals guided back to their pens, children called home. The air cools as the light fades, and the hearths are stirred to life again, flames rising warmly against the gathering dusk. Evening arrives with gentle steps, never hurried, always patient. Around the fire, supper is shared. Bowls are filled, hands pass bread, voices mingle in low conversation. Stories rise once more, tales of gods and heroes, of journeys across the sea, of lessons learned and wisdom remembered. Faces glow in the firelight, eyes bright, laughter soft. Beyond the walls of the longhouse, the night presses close, but inside there is warmth, there is light, there is safety. And then, as before, the day comes to its close. The fire is lowered, embers glowing faintly. Blankets are drawn close, heads rest against pillows of straw. Breath slows, sleep returns, folding gently over the longhouse just as it did the night before. Outside, the stars gather again in the wide northern sky. The sea whispers, the trees murmur, the world exhales. The cycle continues. Day after day, night after night, the pattern weaves on. Work and rest, sea and shore, dawn and dusk. Always repeating, always steady, a rhythm older than memory itself. In this rhythm there is comfort. In this rhythm there is peace. The people are part of it, the land is part of it, and you, listening, are part of it too. And so, as the cycle closes once more, you are invited to rest, to let the rhythm of the Viking world carry you gently into your own sleep. There is no need to hold on to the day, no need to keep watch. The fire glows, the stars shine, the sea whispers, and you are safe within it all. Your eyes grow heavy, your breath is slow. The story has circled back to where it began, morning to night, night to morning, one day flowing into the next. So now let go. Let the weight of the day drift away. Let the calm of the night surround you. Drift softly, gently into sleep, knowing that the cycle will continue, steady and sure, carrying you always forward, always safe. Good night.